Hi there, welcome back to Help Solve the Case. This is Christine Burke, and this is the Jared Bridegan case. We are going through the initial police report for the incident when it happened on February 16th, 2022, and looking into the police investigation, what we think, what they say happened, and trying to get a perspective for ourselves. So thanks for being here. I would love it if you would like, subscribe, and share, and let's continue. So we're talking about supplement number 15. In police reports, you have the initial police report, and then you have continuing supplements. And it helps to follow along with the supplements and identify what is in what report where. And so we always like to make sure how many supplements you have and that you have supplements that document what's happened in the case. For instance, if you might remember, if you saw it when we were going over the Brian Koberger case, we found some supplements labeled from the prosecutor's office that were not in the original police report, which means there was information that the prosecutor deemed that they needed that was not documented in the original police report, and that makes a difference, okay? So knowing how the police reports interact and all those things, also part of, and how it can impact a case, part of what I teach in my Help Solve the Case Investigations Academy, okay? And if you want information on that, go to the community tab. Okay, so we've got our supplement here, and this is Yvonne Santiago. It doesn't really tell us what role that they play at this point. It looks like that she came into the case on February 17th at around almost 6 p.m. And we've got the police headquarters address here. They've got, looks like, some victim information here. And she's going to tell us at 2017 hours on February 16th, she was instructed to respond to the intersection of Sanctuary Boulevard and Jacksonville Drive, and that is where the incident happened. Upon my arrival at 20:43 hours, so it took her about, half hour to get there, she took custody of blank. Okay, so this may be an officer that was assisting Child Protective Services or whatever. It sounds like this is the younger daughter of the victim, okay? I transported her to the police station where her mother, Kirsten Bridegan, was en route to get her. She is an articulate child and easily carried a conversation back and forth. She told me her, quote, mommy, end quote, took her to Target on that day and bought her the shoes that she was wearing. So it's so distressing to just imagine that a child would have to witness this and that somebody would do this knowing a child was in the car. It's just awful. I cannot imagine. Hopefully with her age, I mean, I don't even know. I'm picturing a little girl showing off her shoes and not even, hopefully having no memory of what happened. Although I think we saw some statements, but the trauma of not having a parent around is, anyway, just awful. So later, her mother confirmed that occurred earlier in that day, as blank had recounted, with the exception it was at Walmart, not Target. Now, this is good that they're putting it in the police report. All these little details matter. So if the child would become any type of a witness, was she oriented to time and place? Did she, at the time of the incident, have sufficient recall and being able to articulate it? Okay, so this is good that the officer is documenting this, that it's in the report, and that she's able to articulate it, and she got it right, albeit she got the store wrong. Okay, it says during my time. During my time with blank, she said she had mac and cheese, which is her favorite food, and her mommy stayed home. Again, talking about the evening, going out that evening with the dad. Blank made the following statements to me. Note, I did not question her about this incident. Daddy opened my car door and I heard a boom. That's a quote. It quote, "It's too loud," end quote, quote, "I heard booms," end quote. Awful. Awful. At the station, I made contact with her mother, Kirsten Bridegan, and her mother, uh, Mary Vach. Man, I'm surprised the police department's just leaving these details in here. Did not bring her Seattle license and currently lives in temporary housing in Orlando at unknown address. Kirsten advised me she had been married to Jared for approximately 4.5 years and had been together a total of 5 years. Might be something about kids in the redacted part. Jared was married prior and has 2 9-year-old twins, Liam and Abigail Bridegan, with ex-wife Shanna Gardner. Shanna and Liam have a 50-50 custody split in which one parent has the kids from Monday after school until the next Monday morning drop off to the school, when the other parent then has them for the same amount of time. Whichever parent does not have the kids for the week then picks them up on Wednesday evening, and they go out for date night, which lasts a little over an hour. Kirsten stated she used to go, but since having London, the time frame coincides with when she is sleeping, so she has not been going. On today's date, Jared took blank, and they left the house around 17:55 hours. At 18:42 hours, she sent Jared a text asking how it was going, and he responded things were going well. He told her Abigail wanted to text with her. She and Abigail sent texts back and forth on Jared's phone. She asked Abigail where they went, and she replied with the pig emoji, which Kristen said was the bearded pig. She took screenshots of the text and emailed them to Detective Johns. Again, what was happening leading up to the incident, what was going on, all building the time frame and timeline of events. Kirsten stated her brother called her at 19:39 hours. While they were talking, Jared called and she merged him into the conversation. They all spoke for a few minutes and then her brother hung up so she and Jared could talk. The conversation with her brother lasted 8 minutes, and the conversation with Jared did not show up on her phone log due to her merging him into her current call. That's interesting to note, right? For you true crime fans. The phone call with Jared was on the car speaker, and she was also talking with blank. Jared had just dropped off Abigail and Liam and was on his way home. Could you imagine if you heard this as a spouse or family? I mean, could you imagine? Blank told her she was eating ice cream, and Jared told her it was a Frosty from Wendy's. They hung up, and when she attempted to contact him later, he did not respond. She said at 20:51 hours, she was worried because he had not made it home yet, and she began, quote, blowing his phone up, end quote. So within an hour of this happening, we know that she was not notified. Kirsten advised the relationship with Jared's ex-wife Shanna and her new husband Mario Fernandez was not a good one. She said Shanna was constantly filing things in court regarding the children and lied about Jared, portraying him to be a bad father. She said Shauna and Mario lied to the kids and tried to make Jared look bad to them. Furthermore, she said Mario is very controlling and tries to control everything. She said the last time Shauna filed something against Jared was last year, but the case was dropped. She said there has been no violence or threats of violence from Shauna or Mario. Now, Shanna, just FYI, I'm reading this verbatim from the police report. Everybody is like, I'm just reading it. Nobody's saying anything, okay? All we know is that we have Jared Bridegan deceased, okay? Kirsten said Jared has not had any disagreements with anyone and everyone likes him. She said the only person who had ill will towards him is Shauna and Mario. When I asked her if Jared has life insurance, she advised he should have some through work. At the request of State Attorney C. Stifler, I asked her if she would be willing to allow blank interviewed by the Child Protection Team, and she immediately agreed. There is no further information to add at this time. Okay, supplement 16. This is Brian James Wallace. 2/17/2022, 1800 hours, police headquarters. On February 17, 2022, at 0830 hours, I began assisting GIU, I guess that's General Investigations Unit, Detective C. Johns, and I believe C. Johns, forget, is the main detective on the case, and Detective J. Lamont with this case. Now we have seen Lamont's name before. At 08:30 hours, so that's the next morning, bright and early in the morning, about 12 hours later, he spoke to Nancy K. of 3662 Sanctuary Way South in reference to this case. Kay stated while walking her dog at 1800 hours, she observed a dark gray SUV parked near the intersection of Sanctuary Way North and Jacksonville Drive. She stated she did not believe the SUV was related to nearby construction. It doesn't say at night. I mean, at night, I'm thinking that wouldn't be at night, right? Well, 1800 hours. Maybe they're working. I don't know. It should be dark in February. The SUV was bearing New York license plate and occupied by two older 40s white males. Kay explained the driver was scruffy with facial hair. Kay later provided me with a potential third party who observed the SUV. Kay explained Ruth took pictures for the construction company and may have inadvertently taken pictures of the parked vehicle. How awesome is that? If that would be a suspect vehicle, how awesome is that? I attempted to contact Ruth at 18:30 hours, however, left a voicemail when Ruth did not answer. Okay, so they're doing more neighborhood canvassing. This person, Robert Carney, heard gunshots. He observed the parked vehicle, possibly victims, on Sanctuary Boulevard. So it sounds like even though we can't see it from when I provided we went on Google Earth and we looked at the road, we could not see through the bushes, but we're talking 4 years. So we don't know what the bushes were like at that time, whether you could see through it or not see through it, right? Okay. Trenton Waterman, he had several motion activation alerts, it looks like. When they reviewed a video clip at 1952-51, I discovered the following. A gunshot and muzzle flash occurred at 1952-52 near the driver's side of the victim vehicle. So they must have kind of lined this up. We don't know if this house could actually see. Let's look at where that is. Hold on a second. Okay. So here's the area where this is happening, okay? To get on to JTB. Right here. Sorry, not over there. Right here. Did I get that wrong? No, there's JTB. Sorry. Okay. So right here. So they're saying that they could see the victim's vehicle. Now, if we put our person those trees, so this looks like this is the bush line to the sanctuary, and then can't really see anything, but well, this is 2 years later. This is 2024. So depending where the camera is, trying to get on different angles. Can't see it. We don't really know what we can see. Let's go down the street. So we don't know if it was right in this. So we've got this one clump of bush. Could have been February. It was February. Could have been not leafy. Right? And we don't know exactly. We don't know exactly where. Okay. A gunshot and a muzzle flash occurred at 19:52, 52 hours near the driver's side of the victim vehicle. Shortly after the flash and shot, a subject, henceforth known as the suspect. Oh my gosh, so this is the first time that we have the suspect identified, at least known for certain, during this incident. Moves in front of the victim's vehicle. Interesting. A subject, okay, moves in front of the victim's vehicle. At 19:52:55, the suspect walks in front of the victim's vehicle headlights, which backlights him or her. So that means the suspect is facing southbound. The suspect continues walking southbound until 19:53 hours, at which point she begins to run. The suspect continues running southbound on Sanctuary Boulevard, later out of view. Several minute-long motion clips beginning at 1800 and ending at 2021 hours were taken from Waterman's camera system. The clips will be placed into property as evidence. Okay, so let's get our diagram out and let's draw that. Okay. So we're not sure exactly where on this street. One would assume it would be in the bushy area. Okay. Maybe not, but we'll just pretend. I don't know. Did I save my clip from the last time? So let me just make a new one. Because we need a longer runway here. Okay. So, got me in here. Okay, so forget this car, right? We're just using this as illustration purposes. And we've got our car here, our victim's car, right? And then we have our victim. And we have our shell casings, which we now know were between the victim and the car. And this is not to scale or anything like this. We're just, okay. So, and we know that the trajectory, we had one bullet here. So one has to go this way and one has to go this way. So that would mean, trying to find some good colors here. So that would mean that at some point, our person was, remember we saw that it was 10 to 15 feet on the ejection. Okay. And of course, we would want to know which way it ejects. Does it eject directly back? Does it go to the side, left, right, whatever? So we've got somebody in, let me erase this. We've got somebody in this area. Okay. Somehow we believe. And then it says they walked in front of the headlights and then walked down, doesn't say exactly where, and then started running. Now, we did have somebody in one of our other supplements say something about seeing that sedan part. Let me take this tail off of here. Let me take this tail because they said they just started running and it's going around the curve. But what we have here, okay, remember right down here, oh, what's that street? I don't know if I would have parked this far down. I would have parked more towards the highway. But remember, somebody saw the car parked in the striped area. Maybe it's this area here. Somebody saw a car parked in the striped area here. That's a pretty, let's walk that or pretend we're going to drive it. whoops, hold on. If we're the person, okay, so we got to go, 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 go. Go, go, go. That's a lot. We agree? It's a lot. Okay. Okay, 3940 Grande Boulevard. We just saw Grande Boulevard. Frauenheim showed me several camera angles on his property, beginning at his 2 of 6, 3 of 6. Oh, okay. It's for, wait, okay. Based on my inability to extract the LoRa system data. So that would be interesting because Grande is right here. Oh my goodness. Look at that house. What happened to that house? Did they put that? Oh, they put that over the stone house? Holy goodness. I'm not a construction person. Sorry, guys. Like, goodness gracious. Was it a block house? And then they... Is that insulation? I don't know what that's crazy. Okay, here's Grande. Here's Grande. 3940. That one. Okay, it's that one right there. Oh, different spot. Okay, Jacksonville Drive. Okay. All right, not where we thought it was. Oh, here we go. No. All right, not where I thought it was. There we go. Okay, this is where we want to be, but this is not. That's way far away. 494. Okay. Okay, we got several other places they looked at. No activity. Nothing. Okay. On 2/18/2022, 10:50 hours, at approximately 19:50 hours, she left her house to pick up her daughter from volleyball. She took the same route as our department's social media post and stated when she arrived to Jacksonville Drive and Sanctuary Boulevard, she observed several vehicles stopped behind a black SUV, stopped on Sanctuary Boulevard facing south. She stated behind the black SUV, she observed a small, potentially gray SUV, an unknown vehicle, and finally, a white four-door sedan, all stopped behind the black SUV. Curry explained the driver of the gray SUV, white male, exited his vehicle, walked towards the driver of the black SUV. Just before he made it to the driver's side, he stopped and walked back towards the rear. He then walked to the passenger side of the SUV. Curry reversed her vehicle, later drove eastbound on Jacksonville Drive. Curry stated the white sedan was driven by a white female. That kind of sounds consistent with some of the witness statements. We'll leave that there for now. More information about cameras, neighborhood canvas, motion detected, not of the victim vehicle 10 minutes prior. I don't know, is that a suspect vehicle, canvassing the area? Let's see, Wheeler stated without the subscription service, camera only records the previous 3 hours per Google. That's interesting. Okay, at 17:58 hours, I contacted Maria Pruden. Sorry, guys, that's my printer. In reference to a call-in sheet, Pruden stated she drove northbound on Sanctuary Boulevard at approximately 2000 hours. Pruden explained when she passed, heading northbound, she observed 3 vehicles parked behind the black SUV and what appeared to be a, quote, what to be, quote, a body, end quote, laying outside of the black SUV. Putin stated the hazard lights were on and the driver door was open when she passed by. I also contacted the operations administrator of the Discovery School, and the camera at the school, the Discovery School, was not working. Okay, so that's interesting. We finally have some suspect timing and suspect information if the camera on the house was at the right time, right? Okay. Supplement 17, Yvonne Santiago, 2/17/2022 at 19:48 hours. Footage from the Bearded Pig. Okay, so they went to the restaurant. Computerized ticket from Dine-In Pig. This is good because it's going to show, was anybody near? Alternate suspect theory, was anybody agitated? Did they have problems with the server? Were they drinking? Well, like, what transpired, leading up to this? So all good, not necessarily suspect information, but information that can protect the case, very important, protect the case against defense challenges, okay? Okay. So, on Thursday, February 17, 2022, at approximately 12:10 hours, I sent an email to Carrie Pilato, an account manager with the Ring Neighborhoods program, to request any assistance they could provide in locating any available Ring footage pertaining to this case. At approximately 12:15 hours, I called the child protection team to ascertain if they would interview blank. I was advised I would get a return call, and subsequently Luis Ramirez called me back. I spoke with him and Lori Armstrong, and subsequently the interview was set for January 18th at 10:30 hours. At approximately 12:24 hours, I responded to the Bearded Pig, made contact with General Manager Robert Smith. He advised he was working during the time frame Jared would have been at the restaurant. He stated no disturbances happened yesterday. He agreed to go through the computerized tickets for the day, and we subsequently found the one for Jared and his children. We were able to locate it utilizing the time and amount paid. 19:02 hours, 39:09 cell phone wallet showed this, as the last 4 credit card numbers of his credit card appeared to change due to a safety feature. Owner Michael Schmidt responded, and we subsequently located the video footage of Jared arriving in the parking lot at 18:47 hours. He and the children entered the restaurant at 18:48 hours, go to the parking lot at 19:22 hours, and subsequently leave the parking lot at 19:24 hours, heading south on 3rd Street. There is no available video of them eating. The northwest side of the seating area near the cash register's camera was unknowingly still covered with painter's tape from past construction. That's awful. I would treat a copy of all available footage. Copy of the footage will be placed into property as evidence, as well as a copy of the computerized ticket. I also scanned a copy of the computerized ticket to this report. Just folks in general, check your cameras like routinely, like your smoke detectors and stuff, because I cannot tell you the countless times that we need something and there was a camera there, and for whatever freaky reason, it's not working. It could save a life. It could, we're talking about an instant case, but when suspects and people are not apprehended, it's future cases. So please, 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 please maintain your camera systems and check them regularly. You never know. It could be your life. It could be your life, somebody making threats for you. I also spoke by phone with employee Tori Cameron, who worked one of the registers, and she also stated she did not observe any disturbances. There is a daily summary report that gets emailed to Michael Schmidt, which would note any problems, disturbance, and complaints throughout the day. He advised no disturbances were noted. At approximately 17:44 hours, I submitted an electronic law enforcement inquiry to International Claim Association to attempt to locate any life insurance policies Jared may have. There is no further information to add to this report at this time. Now we got Stephen Russell Courier, 2/18, 14:50 hours. Looks like something with the police department. Camera. Put some footage in. On Friday, February 18, 2022, at 14:45 hours, Paul Morley came to the police department today because he saw the media information from this agency asking for any Ring camera footage, Nest camera footage, and or exterior surveillance camera footage from along Fairway Lane or America Avenue. Morley gave me a thumb drive containing his exterior camera footage from his house. After I viewed the camera footage, it appears the victim's vehicle drove past Morley's house at 1829-39, heading south of Fairway Lane. The view from the camera at night wasn't good. It was very difficult to identify the make or model of any vehicle traveling north or south. I placed the thumb drive into property. Supplement 19. Yvonne Santiago, 12/18/1501. So we've got Shane Peter Villanova Borgia and George Kurtage. We've got a Facebook response. Let's see. Officer Jarman, who is an evidence technician, advised he would contact Shane Villanova Borgia, who had touched the victim's vehicle, to arrange getting elimination prints from him. At approximately 10:42 hours, Officer Jarman advised me he had made contact with him by phone. He is currently out of state on his way to Wisconsin. Mr. Villanova is a truck driver and is going to request his dispatch send him back to Florida after he drops off his load in Wisconsin. At approximately 11:17 hours, I sent an email to Assistant State Attorney Devin Libran in reference to the requested subpoenas for Wendy's and Chase. She requested a copy of the offense report so that she could input dates, times, etc. She also needed the address for Wendy's. I sent her the first page of the offense report and the address for Wendy's. That's good. They're documenting release of information. At 11:25 hours, I called Mary Murator, who had responded on a Facebook post she was tagged in. Referenced this case, quote, "Christina, I saw this," end quote. She advised me she was telling her friend that she had seen the post, not the crime. A copy of the Facebook response is scanned to this report. At approximately 11:44 hours, I contacted the St. Johns County Clerk of Courts Records Department, left a voice message for contact back, sent a request to the National Association of Insurance Commissioners to locate a life insurance policy. At 12:46 hours, I attempted to contact George Shurtad in an attempt to set up an interview with Detective Johns. The call went to voicemail. He's currently in Newark. We'll be back Monday or Tuesday. Text or call. Contacted Carolyn Zisser of Zisser Family Law. She's attorney represented the victim in his divorce proceedings. Requested documents, subsequent court filings with the ex-wife. She advised she would get her assistant to help, but would not be able to do so until later the day. Recommended I contact the clerk of courts. They should be on file. I asked her if the victim's divorce was acrimonious. She said it was. She told me the victim was a good dad who loved his kids. I asked if she had any recollections of the victim and his divorce that might be of interest to this case, and she said she would have to refresh her recollections. At 12:58 hours, I contacted the St. Johns County Clerk of Court, Family Division, blah, blah. Set up a registered user account. He assisted me and was also having the files made readily available online. Due to it being a lengthy case, because there's always, let me tell you, in a divorce case, there's a treasure trove of information. Always look at that if you can. Because the fur comes flying, let me tell you. True fur and fake fur, but the fur comes flying. Anything you might ever want to know, divorce cases. You have to vet it, of course, but at approximately 15:39 hours, responded to Jiffy Lube, see what footage they have of 3rd Street South. Footage is of poor quality. Clean getaway. Let's see. Contact was made, referenced the neighbor's website, set up an account. So they're looking for anything that might be, on the way, because I think they mentioned the 3rd Street was when they left the Bearded Pig restaurant? Okay. Supplement 20. Were we on 20? Yes. Okay. All right. Shane Michael Jarman. He's our crime scene person. Printout of rim information. DVD photos of tire photos. Information of rim. Maybe that's something to do with the tire size. Let's see. On 2/18/2022 at 8:15 hours, I swabbed the tire, found at the scene for possible DNA after I finished processing the tire. Sorry. Sergeant Shackelford requested the make, model, and all numbers off the tire. Okay, so he went back to the property room, checked the tire back out. It's a BF Goodrich, blah, blah. Other numbers, blah, blah. Because you can tell what vehicles they typically go on. Typically, because people put weird tires on different vehicles. Sergeant Shackelford provided me a printout in reference to the tire. I attached a copy to this report, submitted it to property. On 2/19, he returned to the property room garage in order to look around the victim's vehicle for possible tracking devices. I started with checking the wheel wells and the immediate undercarriage. I opened the gas tank cover, then the hood. I found nothing. I crawled under the car and checked the frame, still found nothing. Using the OSCR 360 tablet, I checked for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connections. I found nothing. I installed the Tracker Detect app and found nothing. I walked into the property room to check the vehicle's keys out from property for Detective Lamont. As I walked in, I could hear something beeping. Property officer came over, handed me the keys. On the keys was an Apple tracker, and it was beeping. I returned to the vehicle and scanned again to ensure the app was working correctly. I connected to the Apple tracker and was able to start beeping. I don't know what he connected with. I locked the garage back up, returned to the station. I informed Sergeant Young and Detective Johns of my findings. Sergeant Young instructed me to give the keys to Detective Lamont. So, I think they're talking about an AirTag. So was the AirTag on there because he lost his keys? Did he know it was on there? I don't know. Interesting, huh? At 12:26 hours, I met with Detective Lamont and Detective Courier at the property room garage. They requested access to the vehicle in order to check the Bluetooth connections on the vehicle. After they completed their investigation, I locked the garage door and left. Supplement 21. Alan Bernard Ford, 2/18/1650 hours. Looks like they're back out at the scene. Video footage. Updated America Avenue canvas. Okay, so they went back out, it looks like. On 2/18/2022 at approximately 0900 hours, I connected a neighborhood canvas of America Avenue and adjacent streets. Yes, you go until you get every house. All information gathered from the canvas was placed onto an Excel Word document, and saved as a PDF. Okay, let's have all three, and attached as evidence. I'm waiting to hear back from a residence located at 3521 America Avenue, close to the scene, which may have additional video evidence. I left several messages on the resident's personal cell phone and office. Okay. The listed residence has several hardwired security cameras in front of the residence facing America Avenue. So they're interested in this house here. This 3521. Okay. He also made contact with Taraz Colvin, information lead. Colvin stated she left Target on 2/17 at 19:26 hours, noticed a white male and white female jogging on South Beach Parkway near Jacksonville Drive. Colvin stated she didn't see, nor did she hear anything suspicious criminal during that time period. Colvin stated she just wanted to call in and report the information. The reported information was outside the time frame of the reported incident. They could have been jogging to the crime scene, maybe? I don't know. Right? What do you think? On 2/19/2022 at approximately 1000 hours, I conducted follow-up neighborhood canvas. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what an Excel Word document is because they're both different, right? I mean, and it's saved as a PDF. Like, okay, what am I missing? Sergeant Shackelford made contact with Kaylee, that's that person up there, who advised she was out of town, would check her video surveillance. Unable to locate any video evidence pertaining to vehicular travel of America Avenue and adjacent streets during the investigative time frame. So, they're theorizing now. Nobody was driving up and down America Avenue. Maybe they didn't stash the getaway car over there or whatever. That's checking all possibilities, right? On 2/19/2022, at approximately 17:15 hours, I made contact with Jack's Beach residence, Stephanie Pedrati, who resides at 2743 America Avenue. She's got a Google camera, 2 video clips, 1949 hours to 1950 hours, and 1950 to 1951, so that might be good. Also, this person, 2 Y security cameras, captured a light-colored pickup truck, dark-colored pickup truck vehicle backing out of the driveway across the street, and a sports utility vehicle traveling southbound on America Avenue from the 2700 block. The cameras recorded the listed vehicle from 2/16/2022, 1950 to 1951 hours. Okay, so that is southbound. Okay, that is 2720 America Avenue, which I believe the victim was reported to have come down America Avenue, turned on Jacksonville Drive, and then turned south. Okay, 22. I'm not tracking my, there we go. We're on the right one. Okay. Lawrence Smith. Okay, this looks like something out at the scene, 1958 hours, digital disc, tech video. On Wednesday, February 16, 2022, approximately 1959 hours, I responded to reported gunshots in the area of Jack's Drive and Sanctuary Boulevard. At my arrival, I located a vehicle stopped southbound on Sanctuary Boulevard between Jack's Drive and Sanctuary Parkway. Sanctuary Boulevard is a 2-lane curved roadway, which is divided north and south by a large, swampy grass median. Doesn't say anything about trees in the middle. Now, remember, we saw trees and stuff. Large, swampy grass median doesn't scream trees to me. The victim, vehicle, black Volkswagen, was stopped with the motor running and hazard lights flashing. The driver's side door was open, the other doors were open, and all 4 windows were rolled up. Just outside the driver's door was a male victim lying face down in the roadway. There was a significant amount of coagulated blood around the victim's head. The male appeared to be lifeless. I checked for a pulse on his carotid artery and couldn't feel one. I rolled the victim over onto his back to begin CPR. After a minute or so, Officer Corey relieved me and continued CPR until rescue arrived. Who is this? I think this is Sergeant Smith. Shortly thereafter, the victim was pronounced deceased. Once on the scene was secured and possible witnesses on scene were identified, I notified Detective Sergeant Young of the incident. So Detective Young is that, and he is probably this guy signing off on these reports. Okay. Once he arrived, I transitioned from my patrol role to assisting the evidence technician unit with the scene. One of my tasks in my support role was assisting with videotaping the scene. I provide evidence technician. Here we go. Langlois. My camera to collect the video. Myself and E.T. Jarman walked the scene to provide illumination due to the dark conditions. I downloaded the video to a DVD and placed the copy into police custody. I remained on scene until it was released. 23. Matthew Dahlberg. What do we have here? Okay, we don't know what that is. Who is this? This is Lamont. Okay, so he's the other detective in the case. Friday, February 18, 2021, at approximately 10:30 hours, I attended a CPT interview with Detective Johns. The victim's daughter was interviewed due to being a possible witness. See Detective Johns' supplement for the interview. I think we might have seen that. Not much information, obviously protected. At 1300 hours, contact was made with Gabriel Harriet at the South Beach Regional Shopping Center. Remember, Gabriel, I believe, is the transient or the homeless person living in the area. Gabriel was believed to be viewed on the surveillance video, which was received from 3940 Grande Boulevard the night of the incident. In the video, Harriet was seen headed northbound on Grande Boulevard to Jacksonville Drive. Well, that would have been Harriet then heads westbound on Jacksonville Drive and exits the area. I'm to look at that. It's a he. Sorry, Gabriel. Harriet was asked if he was in the area, and he could not give a coherent answer to this question. We heard, excuse me, I believe in the previous videos, there's some possible mental health challenges. Harriet advised he was not in the area, but his twin brother may have been. Harriet had issues staying on topic, and his answers made no sense. It should be noted, Harriet does not have a twin brother. Maybe he was nervous about being implicated in something. Interview, witness. At approximately 1830 hours, interview with Dahlberg was conducted in interview 89. Also present during the interview was Detective B. Connor. Dahlberg was asked to describe an incident which may have occurred. Oh, is this at the field, at the game? 2/16/2022 between the victim and an unknown party. It was explained this information was relayed through several different people. Dahlberg advised he was at Wingate Park from 1730 to 1930 hours. Dahlberg stated he did not see any altercation with the victim at the park at this time. Dahlberg also explained he is not aware there was any altercation with the victim at all. Dahlberg advised he is not aware the victim was ever present at the park. Dahlberg advised he left Wingate at 1949 hours and proceeded home. He traveled the route, which is believed to be the one the victim traveled. While he was driving to his home, he did not see anything suspicious. He advised when he got home, he immediately heard about the incident, checked his Ring doorbell camera. He said his camera operates on motion, but his camera did not activate. His camera did not even activate when he arrived into his driveway. People, check your cameras. Dahlberg would go on to explain he does not know the victim, but he does know of his brother. Dahlberg stated the victim's brother, Justin Bridegan, works at Stellar Construction, and he works at Stellar Construction. End of interview. At approximately 1948 hours, Detective Sergeant Young and I met with Kirsten Bridegan at her residence. She was updated on the status of the case and several follow-up questions. She was asked what time she spoke with her husband's ex-wife on Thursday morning. Bridegan advised she sent a text message to Shanna Gardner on 2/17/2022 at 0100 hours. Oh, after the event. Okay. I was like, you're going to text someone at 1 in the morning. Bridegan asked if she could be present when Gardner informed the twins of their father's death. Oh. It's the worst thing. It's the worst thing. Having to do a death note. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of bad things in police work, but I can't imagine. I can't imagine. She wanted to be present when Gardner informed the twins of their father's death. Gardner agreed, and Bridegan met Gardner in the morning to inform the twins. Sorry, guys. Never gets any easier. Bridegan was asked if she had any further information on her husband's firearms. Bridegan advised she had not seen her husband's gun, but he told her he had one. Bridegan would find her husband's firearm on 2/19/2022 at 1300 hours. While speaking with Bridegan, she showed her 9mm Ruger LC9S. Bridegan's ammunition consisted of Federal Remington and Sig Sauer. Important to know, right? Because we had the two different types of ammunition casings at the scene. Bridegan was asked to further describe the route her husband would take after dropping off his children to his ex-wife. Bridegan advised her husband used to drive to Beach Boulevard and head westbound to San Pablo. Her husband would then take San Pablo to JTB. Bridegan stated a year ago she got into an argument about this route being slower than her route. Bridegan advised she would travel south on 15th Street to Fairway to America and finally Sanctuary to JTB. Bridegan reiterated this is the route her husband would take for the last year. Prior to leaving the residence, Bridegan advised Blank began talking about the night of the incident. Stated, quote, a guy drove fast and dad stopped the car, end quote. Also, the victim also continued to talk about the, quote, G, end quote, in the roadway. Bridegan provided an accurate timeline for her conversation with her husband the night of the incident. 1939, her brother called, and the call lasted for 8 minutes. That's Okay, then he got, at 1946, Jared called and got grouped in. They were joking. 1947, the brother hung up, leaving her and Jared. And at 1950 hours, Bridegan ended the conversation with her husband because he was being quiet and unresponsive. Bridegan hung up the phone and Jared acknowledged. Bridegan hung up the phone and Jared acknowledged. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, supplement 24. Yvonne Santiago. Okay, we've got Zoraida Vergey and Cyrus Vergey Calderon. Some information here. We got a phone log, a timeline. These were the people that stopped. Okay. Behind the victim. Saturday, February 19, 2022 at 10:13 hours, I called Zoraida Vergey. I asked her about all the vehicles present on the night of the homicide in reference to the possible other vehicle, gray SUV, that Valerie Curry stated she had seen. She advised me when she drove up to Sanctuary Boulevard, the black SUV with its hazard lights on was the only vehicle present. She said she stopped a short distance from the vehicle out of fear. She did not see any other vehicles, was going to back up, afraid that it was a setup, but was unable to as another vehicle arrived and she was boxed in. She said the vehicle behind her contained the, quote, Good Samaritan, end quote, excuse me, who subsequently got the child out of the vehicle. She said several other vehicles arrived after them and then left when they observed the stopped traffic. All of the vehicles were described as sedan-style cars and one golf cart. She said one vehicle, a big white truck, a no make model, came down the opposite side of the road, north on Sanctuary Boulevard, and stopped, but she did not see the driver get out. She said the, quote, Good Samaritan, end quote, asked the guy in the truck if he was a doctor or someone that could help with medical, and the man in the truck replied, quote, No man, end quote. The man in the truck then continued driving north. She was unable to describe the man as it was dark and he stayed in the truck. She said she did not see anyone driving or running from the area when she arrived. While talking to Zoraida, she advised she had an app called 360, and it shows where she went and exact times of arrival and duration of times and the locations. I asked her to send me that information, and subsequently she did. It helps build the timeline. The timeline reflects a difference in time with a timeline her sister's who was with her. So, could be issues. Syncing phones and stuff. Google timeline provided to me as noted in the next paragraph. Zoraida's time frame shows her arrival at the Sanctuary Boulevard at 20:08 hours, and her sister's showed an arrival at 19:54 hours. That's a huge gap. That's a huge gap, isn't it? Additionally, Zoraida's timeline shows they were at Sanctuary Boulevard until 20:44 hours, while her sister shows they were there until 21:38 hours. That's like a problem if you're counting on that information, right? Huge gaps. Zoraida signed her written statement at 21:32 hours, and her sister signed hers at 21:35 hours. Additionally, her sister's phone log showed she called 911 at 19:54 hours. Therefore, it appears Zoraida's 360 time frame is not accurate, while her sister's timeline appears to coincide with the sequence of events. I then made contact with her sister, Osiris Vergey Calderon, at 10:34 hours by phone. She and her sister were together. Okay. She provided the same accounting as her sister. Additionally, she stated an older, skinny white male that she calls, quote, another Good Samaritan, end quote, possibly in his 60s, approximately 6 feet tall, walked up and approached near where the victim was. She said he called out to him saying, hello, can you hear me? Then walked around to the passenger side and said, no wonder he is dead, then pointed to a gunshot in the window. She stated she saw him be interviewed by police later. She also pulled up her Google timeline from that night and sent me a screenshot of it. The screenshot is also attached to this report. It shows them arriving at Sanctuary Boulevard at 19:54 hours and stationary there till 21:38. She also sent me a screenshot of her phone log, which showed she blank at 56 hours. She also indicated when blah, 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 something, knew exactly where she was. That screenshot is scanned to this report. I then spoke to Zoraida again, and she advised she had not seen the white male as described by her sister, but instead saw a different white male walk up. The quote, Good Samaritan, end quote, said something to that male, to which he replied, I know the neighbor heard shots. She said she did not observe him or any other man near the victim's vehicle besides the quote, Good Samaritan near the car. She also said she saw the male being interviewed on the news and sent me a YouTube video of the new clip with this interview. I'm not sure if it's the first one or the second. In the interview, the news identifies him as the neighbor who had just got back to his house from a jog and heard the shots. A screenshot of him is attached to this report. So what they're trying to do, trying to make sure who all these people are, okay? All right, so that's where we are. Hopefully you're finding this interesting. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments. What do you think? I will see you on the next one. Thanks for being here. Think about liking, subscribing, and sharing. It helps me do good work for folks that need it. All right, see you later.